and gentlemen, may Allah's peace, mercy, and blessings be upon you. Good morning and welcome. I am Linin Weser and I will be the master of ceremony. Today, we are pleased to welcome you to the fourth and last day of the GSR 25 side event organized by the Communications, Space, and Technology Commission. The side event showcases cutting-edge innovations and emerging technologies, as well as several panel discussions on space-based solutions, the future of healthcare, and digital transformation. Our esteemed guests, welcome to the first session, SpaceUp Competition, which will highlight how space-based solutions can address critical challenges in vital sectors. We are pleased to invite our moderator, Engineer Walid Al-Saleh, Space Ecosystem Development Director at CST, and his distinguished panelists.
Assalamu alaikum and good morning everyone, and welcome to this special session at GSR 25. The theme of this symposium is regulation for sustainable digital development. And today we will explore a unique initiative that embodies this theme by connecting regulators, policymakers, end users, and innovators to solve real-world challenges. I'm Walid Al-Saleh, and I had the pleasure of moderating today's discussion on a groundbreaking program called SpaceUp. This global competition, led by the Communications, Space, and Technology Commission, used a demand-driven approach to spur innovation in the space sector. It is a powerful example of how regulatory bodies can work together and move beyond traditional oversight to become active ecosystem builders. I'm honored to be joined today by the key government partners who were at the heart of this initiative. Their collaboration was essential to its success, as they provided the critical challenges that SpaceUp sought to solve. Please join me in welcoming our distinguished panelists. First, Dr. Valanathan Munsami, the Chief Science Affairs Officer at the Saudi Space Agency. Next, Engineer Mohammed Ashgar, the CEO of the Center for Monitoring City Operations and Services at the Ministry of Municipalities and Housing. Engineer Abdullah Al-Asmari, the VP of Digital Services and Data Intelligence at the Riyadh Infrastructure Project Center. And finally, Dr. Faiza Al-Ataibi, the Research and Innovation Expert at the Wiqa Center. Please give them a warm welcome. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you all very much for being here. And I would like to start with the big picture. Dr. Munsami, the Saudi Space Agency is a strategic partner in this initiative. And as the Chief Scientific Affairs Officer at SSA, how does a program like SpaceUp fit into the broader vision of building a vibrant national space ecosystem? And why is it important for SSA to be a part of these ground-level innovation programs?
Thank you, Walid, and really great to be here. So we're looking at building a space ecosystem within the Saudi Arabia. And so we need to understand, what is the success factor for a space program looks like. It's not how many satellites you have in space. It's not how many ground segments or data segments. It's essentially the utility of using those assets to unlock or deliver products and services relating to specific problems in the kingdom. So we normally talk about economic, social, or environmental problems that we need to resolve. And the great thing about space is you have all of these satellites that have sensors on board. And the advantage is that you have a synoptic view of what's happening on the ground, essentially, from space. And there's some sensors that goes beyond our visual scope, essentially. If you look at the electromagnetic spectrum, it goes infrared, and there's a lot of information there that we cannot see. You can, for example, with the infrared, you can see how much water is in a plant, what's the health of the plant, that you can't see in the visible spectrum. So we use this kind of technology to our advantage to help address certain problems. So the problems come from the demand side, and essentially the colleague sitting on my left-hand side is trying to articulate what are the key issues that the kingdom is facing from many different institutions, trying to codify that and then see how we can bring the supply side to that in terms of addressing those problems. So as I indicated, it's about building the ecosystem, and the SpaceUp is a novel approach. I have not seen it in my 25-year history working in the space sector being done this way. In fact, it was a huge challenge, but a huge success in the same way. And that's about bringing the demand side and the supply side together. Normally in a space ecosystem, you hope the suppliers would meet the demanders. But here we plug the two together. And it's essentially activating what we call a two-sided market through the SpaceUp competition.
And over, since the establishment of SSA and the introduction of the space mandate within CST, the two teams at CST and SSA have been working together very closely.
Yes.
And even though we knew that the end users, the demand side, they are the entity that really creates the ecosystem, it took us a while until we brought them on board. So I'm going to move the conversation now to the demand side, beginning with Engineer Mohammed. Your role as the CEO of the Center for Monitoring City Operations and Services, it's directly related to urban efficiency. And one of the SpaceUp challenges was to optimize urban road assets using space technology. Can you tell us how you are currently monitoring these assets and what kind of impact a new space-based solution could have on the quality of life in the kingdom?
Sure. Thank you, Walid. I'm really glad to be here. I think for us, using space technologies was an interesting and turning point. In the beginning, we thought space is for astronauts, right? Not for roads, parks, and municipalities. But then later on, we accidentally actually experimented with a new use case where we use satellite images to discover unlicensed construction. One of the use cases that recently His Excellency Mohammed Tamimi was talking about in his podcast. And for us, this was the turning point. So in the first time in our history in the municipal sector in Saudi Arabia, we started to see something with high visibility and very interesting lens that we couldn't see previously. Circling back to your question about the road quality conditions, currently the municipalities apply a very complicated and very, very costly system to monitor the quality of roads. This is a very complicated process that takes, at max, it happens once every 3 years. But with the satellite images, we could actually have it in much more frequent times and at a fraction of the cost. So this is the advantage that we're trying to actually introduce into the sector, where rather than using a bulky system that needs very sophisticated and complex engineering judgment, with a fraction of the cost, we can do that process much more frequently with accuracy that is almost equal or sometimes a bit less than the existing systems.
Mm-hmm. And are there any other space-based solutions that are being used currently within MoMA, within the work that you do?
Actually, yeah, a number of ones. So the first one, as I mentioned, the unlicensed construction building. This is as I said, the flagship or the turning point.
Yeah.
Nowadays, we are experimenting actually with counting the municipal assets. So again, we have high visibility on the number of light poles, the length of the roads, the number of bridges, the number of buildings in every neighborhood. Those are some of the use cases that we are experimenting with. With the SpaceUp, we're using both actually. Two very interesting use cases. One is the road condition, as well as the identifying the tree quality, which helps us in our initiatives of greenification, or adding the number of trees in the kingdom.
Interesting. Dr. Faiza, talking about trees, tell us about Waqa Center and the problems it seeks to solve towards food security, and specifically the palm weevil. which was the focus of your challenge track, which was titled Monitoring Date Palms for Pests and Diseases.
Thank you, Walid. First of all, it's a pleasure to be participating in this important panels. Before I start to speak about the main challenges we face in agriculture sector, I would like to give you a little brief about WIQA centers for who doesn't know the WIQA center. WIQA Center is a national center of preventations and control of plant-based and animal disease. It was established in 2020 by Cabinet Resolution number 152. Following this, the ministerial resolutions has been transferred all the responsibility and tasks that related to control and management of plant-based and animal disease from the ministry to WIQA Center. WIQA Center aims to implement the approved policy for controlling and management plant-based and animal disease for sure the sustainability of food security with encouraging private and public sector effort. The center has several responsibilities, for example, but not limited to, developing strategies, plan, programs, initiative producer and regulation to objectives, developing and approving preventive and controlling technique, and as well as organizing effort to limit spread plant-based and animal disease in coordinations with related entity. This is only a little brief about WIQA Center. When we go back to the main challenging we faced in agriculture sector, of course we will speak about the red palm weevils. Red palm weevils is the main challenge we have it in agriculture sector. It's the most dangerous insect we are controlling and management. It's not a native insect, it's an invasive insect that the first record of this insect was in 1987 in Al-Qatib. After that it was distributed in many regions, but it was in control by effort by ministry, then after that by WIQA Center. When we speak about this insect, we have to speak about the physiology of this insect. It's have 4 stages in their life cycle. First, female try to find any opening area or safe place in the tree to laying their egg. After the egg hatch, will transfer to the feeding phase, which is the dangerous phase, because the larva will feed on the soft tissue inside the palm and the trunk. Once the feeding phase finish, will transfer to non-feeding phase, which is called pupa phase, and finally the adult emerge. The dangers of this insect lies how hard to detect the early infestation of this insect. As I always said, when you look at the tree, it looks like fine, but actually it was infested with red palm weevils. The life cycle of this insect, which is most of life cycle, is, the insect is spent inside the palm tree, so it's hard to detect it. And we facing a lot of challenging when we try to find or discover the infestation of this insect, because there is no when in early stages there is no external symptoms on the tree. So the key point to save the tree is early detection of this insect.
Well, we look forward to diving in more detail on the solutions that are available to ensure the early detection through SpaceUp. But first I want to go to Engineer Abdullah Al-Asmari. Engineer Abdullah, the Riyadh Infrastructure Project Center manages some of the most dynamic mega projects in the world. Your challenge track focused on monitoring the impact of infrastructure development. What are the unique challenges of managing and monitoring projects of this scale? And how did SpaceUp help you find a solution that fit your need?
Thank you, Walid. First of all, it's an absolute pleasure to be here to connect with global innovators, to be part of the sessions with my colleagues here, to share our insight related with the SpaceUp competition. Let me take a step back to give you a brief about Riyadh Infrastructure Project Centers and why we involve in competition, global competition like SpaceUp. Our center plays significant role related with the infrastructures in terms of planning, coordinations, sustainable and innovative solutions that related with the infrastructure projects. And our mandate related with coordinate with our relative stakeholders that already work in infrastructure projects. And we found a SpaceUp competitions align with our vision as a center, especially our digital vision when we talk about innovation stream, to come up with the solutions as innovative solutions that can fit with our needs to sustain the infrastructure work, to fit with our needs as the challenges. As you mentioned, with the Riyadh, it's a rapid growth. When we talk about a capital city of Riyadh as a Riyadh region, you can imagine a lot of infrastructure work related with the Giga project, how we can coordinate all of these, engage with our partners. And when we start this as engaged as a partner of this competition, we put four main use cases related with our challenges. One of them is a traffic flow during the exhibitions, how we can detect before and after based on the time, based on the space technology that we can use related with exhibition work. Another thing related with the planning as a model, how we can see, and we see lots of innovative solutions in this field related with Earth observations, space technology, how we can use all of these technology as a satellite image to compare with our permit, compare with our our data related with infrastructure. So the third one is related with the predictive model. We want to see a solution related to the predictive model. We have a lot of data related with the planned project. For example, in next quarter, we know exactly what will happen as infrastructure work, and we build when we engage with the startup to find solutions and model related with the predict based on the time, based on the related also when we talk about a big event that will happen in Riyadh. So this is to conclude how we can see the result as a value. We didn't see as just technology. We see SpaceUp Competition as a platform that connect innovator from the idea, how we can transfer idea to MVP and see the solutions and test the solutions.
And so you had three main problems within your track.
Yes.
And did you feel like you were able to find the correct solutions through the competition, or do you still think that there still needs to be more iteration and?
Actually, it's a journey. When we talk about SpaceUp Competition,
Yeah.
It's a pool of ideas.
Yeah.
A pool of innovative solutions that fit with our needs. More than 40 MVPs, and we see as we can say it is more than 40 companies, global companies as a startup that work in the infrastructure that fit with our need. And you can imagine from the 40, a lot of amazing and innovative solutions. And also we implement something with all of these startups. And we test something. I can tell you a story about one of them. As a satellite image, we implement the value as end-to-end solutions that fit with our value related with operations sector in our center. Increase the efficiency of our operation team. For example, we take a satellite image before and after, comparing that with our permit system, and that's fit with one when we talk about inspector to the areas is 1-1.
Yeah.
And this solutions help us in one-to-many because we have this solution as an engine compared with our permit system and detect the service provider how can complies with our regulations and infrastructure.
All right, and so now I'm going to go back to Dr. Faiza, and after hearing from Engineer Abdullah how they're working with the different pool of solutions, and with the palm weevil problem that we just heard, can you describe the specific challenges with the current traditional methods of early detection, and how are space technologies introducing a change?
Actually, the idea was started with the Saudi Space Agency. Before that, we have different technique. We use it for early detections, but we're facing some problem with this technique. We have several meetings with the agency to discuss the possibility of using space technology to discover the infestations of red palm weevils in early stages. The decision we made did a small scale experiment, and we did this experiment, and the result we got of this experiment was promising. After that, we participate in SpaceUp Competition. The SpaceUp Competition have 6 challenges. Track number 4 was related to our work. It was monitoring date palm pest and disease. This challenge is focusing on large-scale detection and monitoring palm farms to identify stress indicator. So it will be helpful to in large scale of farmer, providing a comprehensive solution to improve the efficiency of pest and disease management in palm tree. Also reducing the cost of monitoring and detection pest and disease, which is we are facing this highly cost to detect the infestations of red palm weevils. After that, we hold a workshop in last March. It was participated by different country. The participations was reach 165 with the 33 different country with 60% international participation. The most country was participate in this workshop. It was UK and India, Saudi Arabia, France and Greece. In this workshop, we introduced to the company which problem we have and what the solution we needed. It was we need a solution help us to in early detection of red palm weevils. After the workshop by the agency, it was there's a qualification phase, narrowing the number of company that already submitted their proposal until 35 company. Then it was in qualification phase with committee. The chairperson was Dr. Yusuf Al-Fahd and other partner from different entity. We qualify until 6 company, and right now we are with him in localization phase. We're looking forward to see their solution and try their solution in the field and see if it will help us in early detection of red palm weevils.
Well, Dr. Faiza, the solutions, are they all images from satellites? Is it all Earth observation, or are there different types of, are they all space solutions, or some of them are space-related solutions?
Some of them is space-related solutions. It's not only imaging. It have imaging with stress indicators, for example, water stress, chlorophyll stress, plant stress. And using also some of them provide using the drones to detect for early infestations, and of course using AI and learning machine.
Well, I'm going to go to Dr. Mohammed, Engineer Mohammed. We've heard about specific challenges from RIPIC and WIQA, and we've also heard about your initial challenge, and also we've seen some of the successes from the other partners. But let's discuss the collaborative model of SpaceUp. This wasn't just a standard competition. It was a partnership between different entities. And I want to ask, what were some of the key lessons that you've learned from this cross-governmental collaboration going into SpaceUp and going through the meetings and finding the solutions?
But look, I have to be honest, we do collaborate with so many entities, but I think in our assessment, this particular partnership is probably a master plan for the rest of our partnerships that we have. And in my perspective, there are 2 factors that needs to be considered and was very successful in the current innovation model or collaboration model. The first one, it was two-way street. So one is that we were very open about the challenges that we have. So from the very beginning, we said those are the 1, 2, 3, 4 challenges that we have in the sector. And even though we're talking to space agency, but we realize that sometimes being open is very important. So for that team of experts to find a better solution. The second area, also from that two-way street model, is that we were also open to imagination. So some of the sessions we conducted with them, yes, were about discussing the challenge that we have in the sector, but some other sessions were about, tell me about that technology in space. And let's think together how we can actually use some of that and implement it in our sector. So some of these discussions were technologies that we initially we couldn't actually find a proper application for it in our sector. I think the second biggest area of success was the structure of this partnership. So in the very early stage, it was extremely structured. There was a clear deadline, there was a clear deliverable of every step along the way, and it followed, syndicated with all the seniors and the juniors at the ministry, and that actually made it very successful, timely, structured process to reach the end goal which we're here.
Interesting. And now you, as the other entity, as the other partners have mentioned, you're going to be working with the solution providers on fine-tuning the solutions. But from SSA's side, Dr. Munsami, what is the next phase for the winning solutions? How will the space agency, alongside CST and its other partners, ensure that these innovative ideas are deployed to create real tangible impact for the kingdom? How does SSA perceive impact?
Thanks, Walid. Can I just reflect on
Yeah,
what, and
yeah,
then I'll
yeah,
try and answer
sure.
the question, because I think it's very important to understand how space is fueling some of these solutions. So if you think about it, the satellite is producing images and is giving you specific information. And there's certain signatures in that imagery that will tell you certain things about what's happening in the ground in terms of characteristics of the plants, whether there's water, diseases encroaching, and so on. The interesting thing is, and I want to maybe a little bit of technical insight, is that the satellites, most of them are in LEO orbit. That means they go through every 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And some of these satellites are put in what we call sun-synchronous orbit. That means if it comes through 9 a.m. this morning, it will come through 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, and so on. So we can take two sets of information and start comparing them. So essentially what we're looking at is change detection. How is the landscape or some of the characteristics changing, like in the red palm weevil?
Yeah.
I see something today, tomorrow I see something else. And I have to validate what that is. And it could be that the red palm weevil. And so if I can, corroborate that information, then I can use it. That anytime I see the signature changing, I know what it is. Okay, and you have to then put that into even the ground-based data, the in-situ data, and fuse that data. So now you're bringing in machine learning, AI solutions to it. And this is where the supply side is bringing those solutions, but using space information.
Yeah.
So I thought that was very important to just explain
Yeah,
how
thank
that
you.
is coming
Thank
together.
you. Thank you.
In most instances, but not all of it. Just in terms of what's next, I think what has come out here as well is that the CST-SSA relationship was a very structured relationship. It's almost like you're running a relay race, and if you understand how that works, you have to run together. You don't throw the baton and hope something happens.
Yeah.
And there was a structured team collaboration that's bringing the supply and the demand side together. And the success is that when we closed the application portal, we had over 600, I think it was 693 applications. And there was a filtration process in terms of criteria. Ultimately, what we landed up was about 73 applications that met all the criteria.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was some aspect of localization. So we had to deal with some regulatory aspects. So the procurement, intellectual property, how are we going to deal with some of those sticky issues? And I think from the procurement side, luckily we worked with our demand side users in terms of unlocking some of the regulations in terms of procurement. And part of that meant that we had to localize the company. So they had to register locally so that they could be uploaded onto the procurement system so they could respond to the use case demand. So effectively where we are at the moment, I think we have like 57 that's registering in the kingdom. And they will then, based on their solutions, respond from a procurement point of view. And the one distinguishing feature of SpaceUp compared to every other competition I've seen is that you have a contract pool at the end. It's not prize money. So the winner gets a contract with the institution that has the problem, essentially. And so that's a commercial contract, which is unheard of.
Correct.
And so now we're plugging up the full value chain from understanding the problem up until the commercial contracting. And I think CST has a role, the Space Agency has a role, and obviously on the demand side and the supply side, so we're bringing that together. We are talking about SpaceUp 2, but we're learning from the challenges from SpaceUp 1, and I think that's where we're going to be heading. But the key success, I think, is having those companies or the supply side responding to the challenges. That's my
And SpaceUp 2 would most likely be following the same format, the same formula
Yeah.
as the original SpaceUp.
It would. In fact, I think SpaceUp 1 was so successful, we started to look at use cases, and I think we identified over 100 use cases already.
Oh, okay.
So, waiting to be solved.
And how many other partners will we be expecting in SpaceUp 2?
I think we might look at doubling on the use cases at least.
So we're going to need a bigger stage next year.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then I should also mention, as part of the ecosystem, we have the Neo Space Group, and their responsibility is about putting a wholesale platform that will host satellite imagery and data. So that means that we could then harvest some of the data from that platform. So they will be an integral part of the value chain going forward. Yeah.
Wow. Well, Engineer Abdullah, you mentioned the specific problem that you put up in the competition and also gave us a look into the solution that you found most promising for the track challenge. What other challenges does your sector have or face, and where are the other areas of investment that could be captured and that are ripe for innovation, whether for SpaceUp 2 or in any other sector?
Actually, it's a good question because I see infrastructure sector is like blue oceans when we talk about innovations, because we talk about underground assets. We see the underground as assets that we can deal with our challenges related to infrastructures. And one of the factors that related to the underground assets, we talk about geospatial data and how we can compare all of the spatial data, geospatial data, with the space technology, with the Earth observations, how we can build a model on top of that and compare all of these kind of data when we talk about underground. So a lot of opportunity related with our sector in terms of underground assets. And when we talk about the challenges that we build in this competitions, again, it's not just, as I mentioned, the three main that we build as use cases. It's a huge, this is one of them as when we talk about traffic flow, when we talk about the planning itself based on the time, duration, the length of infrastructure work, and also using AI modeling. I think it's a value that related when we talk about space technology, using some modeling related with AI as a model to predict something around infrastructure work. And also, again, we are focusing on road quality. The road quality after the excavation is the end, we can detect something related as a road quality related with space technology and using Earth observation. Again, one case that we found in this competition, we teach a model as an engine, some signals and some samples, and on top of that, plug in our, let's say, engine related with the permit and compare the space technology. And this is a very benefit for our, let's say, efficiency for our operational work, also end-to-end solutions that we see the value in it. So just to conclude, we have lots of opportunity related to infrastructure. We see it as assets, huge data. You can imagine huge data related with the utilities, private and public sectors. And our mandate to coordinate with all of these sectors. And we see a lot of opportunity in the future to work on it as a chance for innovators.
Well, I think Dr. Musami can confirm that the data that you have with machine learning and AI technology and Earth observation put together is going to have just unmeasurable
Sure.
potential for solutions in that
Sure.
field.
Can I
Yes,
add
yes.
to that? So
yeah.
there's two things I think that's coming out from the agency. One is what we call a business solution center. And the idea is to capture and specify the demand, essentially. Because there's a whole discipline. There's ISO standards, there's the International Institute for Business Analysis in terms of how you quantify and capture problem specifications, essentially. And that's very important in terms of how you match it up with a solution. The second one, so this is a novel technique we're starting to experiment, is what we call a data cube. So normally what you do is you get your satellite imagery and you put it into an archive. But what we're saying is, okay, so normally if you want to look at a subject of interest, it will take you 3 to 6 months to go process that data, the raw data, get it to the right format, and then try to make sense of it. With the data cube, what we do is we analyze the data and stack it up and geolocate it. So all the satellite imagery, let's say from the 1970s right up till today, is stacked on that location. We can now process that data within 2 to 3 hours, as opposed to 3 to 6 months. And that's fueling another piece of innovation. We're
Absolutely.
still exploring that, but that's going to accelerate the solution space in that sense.
Well,
If you allow me,
yeah.
Walid, I just want to comment on this.
Yes.
This, I have a follow-up on this as I think important. One of the challenges that we face, so what do we do in the center? We take some of that data, process data, and then we present it to the governors or amines or what we call them city managers, right?
Yeah.
Before that, we realized that almost 20 to 30% of those city managers' time is gone through just processing data, knowing where is exactly the problem. And with that powerful technology, what we are being able to do now is that I would wipe out that 30%, and rather than that, just let the city manager focus on managing the city, which is really what is the most important part of that,
Yes, yes.
of that element. So I think what is being done here is not only innovative; it's actually solving a very critical challenge that has been going on for historical time. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I also want to take from your perspective, for your center, SpaceUp did serve as a way to source specific innovation, possibly early stage solutions, and some of them might be experimental. And in the world of compliance, it may not be acceptable to use an experimental model as a source of measurement. But has this been an issue, or is it an issue for your center? And how do you perceive the benefit of working with this new pool of innovators, given the complexity of the type of work that you do?
I think this is a very important and interesting question. In short, yes, it is an issue.
Okay.
But I'll tell you the mindset. From the very early on, we agreed, even with top management, is that these early stage innovations are not substitute of the existing solutions. They are here to supplement, and at one point, hopefully, it will catch up with the existing solutions. So let me a little bit deep dive into this and get a bit technical. We have a KPI, for example, called PCI, Pavement Condition Index. This is a globally recognized KPI, and what it does is that we look at the quality of the roads in the street. This KPI assesses about 20, you can call them distresses or defects in the road. So those goes, for example, from cracks on the road, bleedings, potholes, wearing of the surface of the road, and so on. When we use satellite images, with high accuracy, we can detect 8 of those 20, okay? And we also can detect 4 additional of those distresses or defects with medium to high quality. So if you can see almost 60% of that KPI, I can achieve through satellite technology. So yes, it is not 100% replacement of the existing technology, but it's already a very big step forward to how we can actually possibly measure this KPI. And I think in the future, we'll be able to catch up and replace a system that cost us millions to actually install and implement into something that is more frequent at the fraction of the cost.
So really what you're doing is you are not, your participation in SpaceUp is not 100% to solve the problems of today. You're looking at solving things in the future, just getting ready for that future state.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Because as I said, the existing models they exist for a reason. They are complicated. They need heavy engineering judgment. But allowing us to have this early stage perspective into innovations such as space innovations will allow us to eventually in the future transition into something more cost beneficial, faster, convenient, and so on.
Wonderful. Going back to you, Dr. Faiza, what are your prospects on future cooperation with SSA and on creating more impactful solutions in food security out of space solutions?
Actually, in our work, we use different technology. For example, we use a biological technology like using dog to detect the early infestations of palm. Also, we use other technology, but actually, it's all of this technology even not accurate, give you an accurate result, confused with other pests that attract the palms. Because as you know, palms is not infected only with red palm weevils, it's also infected with other insects or expensive for farmer. So using space technology, I think from my side and WIQA side, we think it's a promising technology. We're looking forward to use this technology, especially in large-scale farmer. This is the first time use this technology. We didn't use it before. And if we use this technology, it will be the first time of its kind to use it in infected country with red palm weevils. We don't have any experience that other countries use space technology for early detection of red palm weevils.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we open to collaborate with any entity that can help us to improve our work or share with us same goals and sustainability of food security.
Inshallah. And so, as a final question from me to the panelists, I want, if I could get from each one of you, in one sentence, what is the single most important lesson that you've learned from this collaboration that you would share with other regulators and government entities? I'll begin with you, Dr. Faiza.
I learned from this space technology. As we know, I am a entomologist, not any expert in any space technology. But collaboration with the different different entity have same interests, same goals. We can develop our work to next stage. We can use this technology to help us to solve many problems have we face it in the field. Also, maybe you can use it in different pests. We have a problem with it. So we're looking forward for this collaboration, and we want to see the solution on the field with the qualified company.
Thank you. Engineer Abdullah.
Let me highlight some keywords or some maximize values from these competitions. Localization is one of them. So we engage with a number of MVPs, a number of global companies, and now we are on the phase that localize these companies in Saudi market. This help in digital economy. The second thing is agility. We see lots of agilities as arm of innovations. We give them challenges, fresh eye, fresh solutions as a global, and we see this technology can help us on our need as infrastructure. These two things, I think, the main value that I see, because again, we engage in a lot of, let's say, competition. One of this value of this competition is how we can end solutions, see the as an ecosystem, enable the innovator, localize the companies that work with the government entities.
Wonderful. Engineer Muhammad?
Although it might sound like a cliche, I believe innovation can be found in a very unusual places. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank actually SSA and CST for giving us that very unusual place. Thank you.
Well, it was our pleasure to cooperate with you. And we look forward to other fruitful collaborations in next editions of SpaceUp.
Absolutely, absolutely. Looking forward.
Dr. Manzami?
I think what this whole exercise has taught us is how we're unlocking the true potential of space. I mean, one satellite imagery could be applied to multiple problems. You don't need multiple satellite imageries to deal with different problems. And so we're unlocking the value for that. And I think the key here is, in all of the examples that were cited, it's about making decisions and bringing the cost of that decision right down. And I think the success on the demand side is our success. And that's the true measure of the space.
And I absolutely agree with you on that side. And even when it comes to CST, trying to build the space sector, we've always found that the problems that we had, how are we able to encourage adoption of space solutions? How are we able to attract the innovators, attract the supply side? How are we able to bring opportunities to investors? These are all different gaps in building the sector that we were able to do through SpaceUp. We were able to work with the end users to attract the right type of supply, the right type of solutions that come in with the confidence that they are able to have adopters to their solutions. And that also brings in the confidence of the investors to work with them. So really, for me, I wish many people in the audience would have been the people that say, why do we work or why do we invest in space? We have problems on Earth. These problems on Earth are being solved using space. So this is one of the main key messages that we hope to share through SpaceUp, and how innovation can be found, like Engineer Muhammad said, in the most unlikely places. So thank you all very much for sharing your valuable insights. It's clear that the initiatives like SpaceUp demonstrate a powerful new model for regulators to act as catalysts for innovation and to drive sustainable development by building bridges between government agencies and the private sector. A huge thank you to our esteemed panelists, Dr. Valanathan Munsami, Engineer Muhammad Ashgar, Engineer Abdullah Al-Asmari, Dr. Faiz Al-Ataibi, and thank you all for being here with us today. Enjoy the rest of GSR 25. At 1:30 p.m., there will be another session presented by my colleague Ibrahim Al-Hawas. He will be talking with the startups, the actual supply, the participants that came to answer the call of the demand side. So I really call on you all to attend that session and hope for benefit to all of you. Thank you very much. Thank you.